Write your thoughts, dreams, and Write your thoughts, dreams, and affirmations into existence with this powerful, practical reparations manifestation planner. Put 2023 plans into action with purpose.
The proofs are hot off the press and look fire, fam. Perfect planner to write reparations manifestations and any other New Year's resolutions, goals, and achievable aspirations. It's been stated, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book or write it down. Let's break those stereotypical trash tropes.
Conjure our justice claim collectively in 2023. Believe it and achieve it. Cut the check. Reparations Now Planner. Available now at Amazon.com. Write it into existence this year with fam and friends.
The way it currently stands, forced labor, slavery takes precedence over rehabilitation and public safety.
Oh, by the way, while the Biden administration gives reparations to everyone but freed people, look at the billions he has run over to Ukraine.
We don't have black grocery stores because if you think about it now, just to get in that supply chain, it's almost unheard of.
They don't want the truth to get out. Okay? I don't want to know what my family did or what all these people did and all this stuff like that. Okay? You read that 500-page report.
There's this thing called white superiority and black inferiority. That mindset allows all of the behaviors that we've seen across generations.
I had no idea that that church I was running by every day was something my grandfather established.
This is not a handout. This is a debt that is owed.
You know, Allensworth was like the internet of his time in 1904, 1905.
The total black population in California is about 2.6 million. And then of that, the descendants compose about 2.2 million of that. So California, with a multi-billion-dollar surplus, can absolutely afford to satisfy the international terms for reparations, beginning with compensation.
Any financial obstacle that exists that impedes the success of increasing financial prosperity needs to be dealt with and eliminated.
No matter where we've been, no matter what part of this fight we've been in, we've been harmed, and we've had harm done to us specifically.
When I got to Los Angeles, this was some of the worst segregation I'd ever seen. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm from Mississippi.
Because as you can see, I'm giving you broken history right now, you know? But I had to give it to you guys today. I said, no, I got to show them this because it's so precious and nobody really knows about it.
Overnight, it's like, oh, it's no longer the quarters, now it's Lincoln Heights. Oh, so now we get to use Abraham Lincoln for our name. And you think about all the other people that they could have used, but they picked Lincoln. And I think that's sort of a stereotypical of what they do.
There wasn't any black restaurants. As far as black business and weed, it wasn't none.
Black people don't have that kind of luxury. Our historically black communities have been redistricted multiple times.
Why has it been easier for other groups than us?
Because of anti-black hatred.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR room, don't tune in.
Loved the intro.
Appreciate that, family. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what's up? What's up? Welcome everyone. This is Men in Mass Media Group, and I'm your Moya. Definitely my partner. I don't know, to the left or right, depending on how you look.
I'm over here, Kim. Hey, y'all.
We're gonna have a wonderful discussion today with our family down in the Bay Area, representing in East Palo Alto. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to our sister
in Menlo Park. Don't leave out Menlo.
Shout out. So I'm gonna pass the mic over to our sister Yasmin, and she can go ahead and introduce other fellow panel members.
Hi, everybody. My name is Yasmin. Nice to be with everybody this morning. I am the lead organizer for EPA for Reparations. And I have my special team with me. We are the core members of this group. Even though we have many other members, this is kind of like the brainchild of the group. So I have Fiani Johnson, who is the founder of the Arminta Ross Foundation. We do our reparations work up under her foundation. She is the first to sponsor us and legitimize our work and support us in East Palo Alto. We'll get kind of into the politics of nonprofits in East Palo Alto later. We have Brother Jabbar, and Jabbar works with Fiani and does a lot of community work based in repair. And he's a pretty interesting gentleman, so we'll definitely get into that. And then we have Brother Emmanuel Smith, who represents One People, One Purpose, One Path. And he's been a great contributor to our reparations group in East Palo Alto. So thank you all for being here with us. I love you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, fam. So Yasmin, do you want to go ahead and introduce everybody else on the panel? And if you guys want to give your introductions, go ahead.
Yes, please. Why don't we start with Fiani? Let's let Fiani introduce herself and tell us about the Arminta Ross Foundation.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me. Yes, I'm Fiani Johnson with the Arminta Ross Foundation, and what we do is we start working with individuals pre-release while still incarcerated and prepare them for the community and connect them to different community-based organizations within their respective communities. So it's a lot of education and preparation towards a successful reentry. And then in the meantime, we host different events throughout the community, mainly in the summertime. We do a Mother's Day bailout, Father's Day bailout. We do break light clinics, and we also close the summer with Black August in EPA. So,
Brother Jabbar,
I was just gonna step in. Good morning. My name is Jabbar. I'm a student and servant. I'm born and raised in East Palo Alto. I spent 23 years in California State Prison for violence, and so my life's mission has been atonement with my community and a broader atonement with that which provided the environment for the violence that I committed in my community. And so I'm an executive of Block Leadership Alliance, which is about violence prevention through conflict resolution and developing safe city strategies. I'm about to graduate pretty soon, and we're studying and getting a little deeper into this history on East Palo Alto and a better understanding of reparations. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel Smith. My mother is Dr. Betty Jo Smith, the first Black woman doctor at Stanford, which is why I'm happy you guys invited me on for this show. I know a lot about Stanford, a lot about her struggles there. And she was the first, well, she wasn't the first, but she was one of the doctors, Little Nairobi Village, which we used to call East Palo Alto and Menlo Park before it was separated. And you know, I believe in the theory of Black cohesion. I believe there's 50 million of us here in America. And if we all put $5 a month in, that's $250 million a month. And we can make 200 new Black millionaires between the ages of 18 and 27 per month. And we can have another $50 million to pay people for going out and getting those contracts and building our own legacy and our own economy within ourselves while nation building and then also fighting for what's owed to us by those people.
Thank you. So as you can see, like, we're a very special group of people. I myself am a hairstylist. I was just kind of moved to start something in East Palo Alto, a conversation around reparations, not necessarily knowing what it would go to or turn into, but just kind of giving the people a voice, so that they're heard in our community. I'm a mom, I'm an artist, I'm a dancer. So I've been around in these streets for a little while. So it's really good to just be back in East Palo Alto and uplifting the voices of the descendant community.
All right, so I know we wanted to get into it in terms of East Palo Alto, and I don't know if you had a presentation or not, but maybe we can ask a couple of questions. Or did you have a presentation you want to talk about, or anything specifically you wanted to go into?
I don't think we have a presentation. We pretty much are all gonna give input about the history of East Palo Alto and how it came to be, and maybe get into some of the harms that affect our community in particular.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you get started, and if Kim and I or anybody out in that chat has any other additional questions.
I just have a real quick question, Yasmin. You said that this is kind of your core group. How many would you say are involved in the EPA for Reparations group?
Well, for our public events, we have usually about maybe 30, 40 people. And for our core group, or our group that we have for descendants that meet, I feel it's really important to center the descendants in our conversation. East Palo Alto has been known in the surrounding communities for being traditionally anti-Black. So we have not had a voice out there in some time that just amplifies our experiences. So with that group, we probably reach every week at least 10 people, sometimes 20. So we have only been going for maybe about 6 or 7 months.
Oh, just 6 or 7 months. How long have you been following the reparations movement out here in California?
Me personally, I've been following it for the last 2 years, and I think I've been very active maybe in this last year.
Okay, so it sounds like in the last 6 months when you organized, you just felt like it was time for you to, get involved and do more.
And when we organized, everything just seems to fall into place. The more organized we get, the more progress we make. So,
well, congratulations! Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if anybody else would like to chime in. I'm gonna start.
Yeah, I really want to shout you out for this because I remember when Yasmin proposed the idea of EPA for reparations, and I was just so on board. For one, I'm from EPA. For two, the work that I do is things that I feel like should be automatic for us through reparations. So it was really, really good that she approached me. But I've learned so much more from her because I'm like, I'm going to put you in these places and I'm going to, and you just going to have to figure it out because I have a lot of work to do. But as we started going on and going with different groups, Yasmin pulled me on the side. They're not for descendants. I'm like, yes, they are. It's Black power over here. Yes, they are. She's like, no. So I've been learning a lot along the way. So I really appreciate her in the work that she is doing. Actually, I learned a lot from my whole team because even with the Block movement and the theory of Black cohesion, it's super awesome. So and I always tell people, you're in a space to either learn or teach, and my peers are teaching me right now. So I'm in a learning space right now, but it's awesome. So I got to give her all her props on this one.
No, don't listen to that. Fiani is the one. Fiani keeps us all together. She keeps us all grounded. And she has introduced me to all these organizations. I'm really, like I said, I'm a hairstylist. I'm a dancer. I'm not in these nonprofit sectors like she is. And she's very well respected. People, when they see her coming, they got a big old smile on their face. So, and I'm the same way. I've known Fiani for a long time, since we were kids. And she's just always been a powerful woman. So I'm just happy to be in this fight with her. So thank you.
I just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say I want to chime in on the ladies and Jabbar and the whole team, and we had some other people that were supposed to be here today. this has been a great group, a learning experience. And like to say about the ladies, they are really, organized. They're great organizers. Yasmin, mother was a community activist and organizer. And for me, I always think that people know what I know or should know what I know, or, that it should just be natural causes. But they show me that you got to organize, you have to reach out to people, and you really have to, focus your message and your plan. And so, like she said, when she started the group 6 months ago, I was gung-ho to get on.
And I just want to say that I'm honored to be amongst all of you, in fact, because really we were born for this time that we're talking about of repair. This is the conversation that we're having comes from hundreds of years, right, of oppression, and we are finally addressing our own pain. And so I just want to say thank you, Yasmin, Vianney, Emmanuel, for allowing me to be a part of the the group in this way, because I'm literally living my dream. I sat in the Hidden University of California prisons thinking about reparations, watching John Conyers try to pass it through, reading about it in the Final Call over 20-some years ago when it wasn't popular. I remember Johnny Cochran was suing the insurance companies. That's another thing I think we need to start looking at. Allowing, the state to do things, that's one thing, but Johnny Cochran and them was going for the insurance companies. They got the ledgers, so it's an honor to be here. I'll just say it like that. And because it's a battle, and I'm honored to be here to help clean up some of the things that I left in my community that were harmful. I participated in a lot of harm. And so I'm one that believes that before I demand reparations from somebody else, I'm going to demand repair of myself. And then I'm going to make amends to those that are harmed in my community, because then I know we have a greater force of making a complaint, because we've healed amongst each other. A lot of my peers, we don't see the harm of Reagan putting cocaine in the community, but we saw each other sell drugs to each other's parents. It's repair needed there. So my looking at reparations is not just telling somebody what they owe me, but coming back to make amends with my community to demonstrate what it looks like, because I don't know what it looks like. I ain't had no big homeboys I ever seen come back from the penitentiary that shot somebody and apologized. My homeboy mama's still looking for an apology. So that's my life. And so to be able to participate with you all in this battle right now that we in is a divine honor. So thank you for allowing me to be present this morning.
And piggybacking on that, we just need to, that's why we got to have something for children to have a reason to get to 18, to get to 24, to have a reason to live for that. And, reparations is that. The theory of Black cohesion is that $1 million in the pocket of people 18 to 27. It is that it gives the youth a reason to make it there, so they don't just pull a trigger, or they don't just get involved in something they don't need to be in, because we as a community have something that's there for them when they get of age.
So thank you, everybody. I just want to maybe start getting into the history of East Palo Alto, and then the team can chime in however they would like to. So East Palo Alto is a community that has been through many changes. It's been through the Native Americans. It's been through a lot of white people living there. Then it went through white flight. And at this time is when descendant Americans started arriving in East Palo Alto. A lot of them from San Francisco, a lot of them from Richmond, and they had the opportunities to buy homes for a cheap amount of money. So most of our families came there during that time. My family in particular did come through the 60s. and didn't come until the 60s. They came from Detroit, Michigan, but was still the opportunity to try to buy a property in California for a low amount of money. So East Palo Alto, being the only descendant American community on the peninsula. In fact, even with our low numbers at 12%, we are still the largest African American community on the peninsula and in the South Bay. So as you could imagine, we went through a lot of changes. The ideals of the civil rights movement, the Pan-Africanism, this all took root in East Palo Alto. And the people at that time were mobilizing. We created the Nairobi Day School from K through 12. A woman in our opening, you know, that little collage you made for us. One of the women in that collage is Gertrude Wilkes, and she is an instrumental part in East Palo Alto history. Bob Hoover brought SNCC to East Palo Alto, and my mom was a part of SNCC in those days over at the College of San Mateo.
And what is SNCC, really quickly, for those who are unfamiliar?
I do not remember the name of the acronym.
What were they involved in?
They were civil rights movement. I don't know if anyone can kind of Google that right quick about
It's
what
the
is SNCC.
Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Stokely Carmichael was the head, and the term Black Power originated in 1966, and it was a big break.
Of Black Panther.
Yeah, where a lot of the radicalism of what they considered when they considered the radical youngsters coming into the civil rights movement, Stokely Carmichael and them, that was kind of the splinter with civil rights and what we now know as the Black Power movement. So when we talk about SNCC, we're talking about those younger generations getting into the historical understanding of who they were, wearing the afros, dashikis, Black Power, Nation of Islam, Black Panthers, and some of the other organizations, such as even the Brown Berets that grew out of that movement that we're speaking of.
Okay, thank you for that.
And
that's very interesting.
To take it back to East Palo Alto, we don't want to forget Donald Smothers and the creation of Nairobi College. It was actually the first reentry program in the state of California. So the work that we're doing now, he did back then. Him and a cohort of people. However, I mainly know Mr. Smothers. So we got to highlight that, and I uplift the Nairobi College, because I am now carrying that torch and doing rehabilitation and reentry for our people within our communities, just as Nairobi College, and that was the purpose of Nairobi College.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'm posting up this screen here to this brother. Is this the brother that you're referring
Yes,
to?
That's Bob Hoover,
Mr.
who
Bob
worked with Donald Smothers. Yes,
Still alive to this day.
yes, he
He's
is.
still
Both guys
alive,
are.
asking questions about what we're doing.
All right, maybe we can hopefully we can get him on the platform. I don't know if he's
Yes, we would love to have that. It's a lot of these
both of them
OGs still doing work in the game. Omawale Satterwhite, Bob Hoover. Even in our group, we have Sister Tiambe Jama. We have Miss Gail Wilkerson. We're connected with Ken Harris and the Onetta Harris family. So it's not like
our goal is to liberate our elders and uplift and continue the work that they've started.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna post up some more pictures here. Maybe if y'all want to go through some of these as well, if you sent it over.
Well, down in the corner, that's Miss Gertrude Wilkes with some of the Nairobi College students. Nairobi College was a first of its kind independent Black curriculum for students, because we have been historically underserved by the Ravenswood City School District in East Palo Alto. The picture right next to it was some years later, but that is County Supervisor Rose Jacob Gibson, Sharifa Wilson. She was an instrumental city council person in the 90s. I do not know who that gentleman is with the hat on, but everybody in East Palo Alto participates in some kind of way. And they're at the old site of the Ravenswood High School, which is one of our harms, is when they took away our high school and bused East Palo Alto youth to the surrounding communities for school. And that definitely was a detriment to the descendant community.
Okay, so I know it's on the top right. Looks like a Juneteenth celebration. Do you know about what year that was?
I cannot tell. This kind of looks like in the 70s.
Wow.
Just
okay.
from my naked eye.
Does East Palo Alto still have a Juneteenth celebration?
Yes, we do.
Annually?
Yes, we do. We are probably one of the first cities in the country to do Juneteenth on a consistent basis. And my mother, Miss Jerry Oakley, she definitely was also one of the people who. Some groups, they do the Juneteenth celebration for a number of years, and then it's passed on to another group, or they inherit it in some kind of way, and they do it. Right now, our brother Eugene does the Juneteenth celebrations in East Palo Alto. So East Palo Alto for Reparations is definitely going to be there this year. We have a booth. We're trying to get the Juneteenth flag so we can let people take pictures in front of the Juneteenth flag. Yes, Juneteenth is very active in our city, and we just want to add to that tradition.
Is there a way that I can share? I just want to share a photo with you all. Something that I've come across while doing this work, and I got excited to know about. And I'm not sure if I can, but I'm hoping I can. I want to share a photo because I wasn't able to send it at the time. I'm on a new laptop, so I'm figuring it out.
Okay. Is there a present option for you at the bottom there?
Let's
okay.
See. Okay, wait a minute. It wants to. Okay, am I sharing?
I'm not seeing it, Deanna. I still got the main screen up here.
I'm not seeing it either.
This is something that.
Fiani, is there a way that you can send it to Yasmin and then she can forward it to us, and then as we're going through, we can post
it?
There
it is.
Here we go. I see it come in.
When I came across this article here, actually someone had posted it on Instagram. And when I came across this article, it shocked me because I didn't even know the Black Panthers set up in East Palo Alto and had a branch there. I didn't know anything about the Black Panthers in East Palo Alto. When I learn about Black Panthers, I'm learning about them in every other city and state outside of East Palo Alto. So this was an honor to know. Bobby Seale came to East Palo Alto and they had a survival day. And that's kind of like what I do with the Arminta Ross Foundation now, is providing food and resources to our community of people. So I would like to just uplift them in this time and just say, shout out to the Black Panther Party for even considering East Palo Alto.
Definitely.
Shout out to Huey Newton for starting it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I just love that little nugget of history. That's
yes.
Yeah, it was so crazy. I had to reach out to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I said, was the Black Panthers in East Palo Alto? She like, yeah, I used to live across the street from Amon University. That was before you was born, though. I'm like, well, why wasn't we never known that about that in school? She was like, because the Muslims, they wasn't playing. They was cleaning up in the streets. So at that time that the Black Panthers was there, the Muslim population had a louder voice, and they were challenging the city of all the injustices our people had faced. So I'm not sure why the Black Panthers didn't last long or what happened there, but I'm just happy to know that they existed in our community. So East Palo Alto has been on the map a long time for our people, and I think we need to continue to uplift them and carry this torch.
And when we talk about the Black Panthers, you know, I just have to give a shout out to Huey P. Newton. You know, we talk about the Black Panthers nowadays, but we never give a shout out to Huey, who started it, ended up died being shot in the back. If anybody wants to go read his book, it's called Revolutionary Suicide. Huey had a wife. She wrote it for him after he passed on. And it's an excellent book. It's called Revolutionary Suicide, and it details his whole prison stint for being accused of crimes he didn't commit, just being in that pipeline and how it was and what he meant to this community and how to uplift it. Just for your viewing guests, so if they want to know about that.
Yeah, facts. The Black Panther Party, I mean, they were pretty much all up and down California. I know they were heavy.
Oh yeah, they were serious.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
They started in San Francisco, and Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers of Oakland radicalized the group, because the San Francisco group were more Pan-Africanists who just wanted peace and connect back with the motherland and things like that. And Oakland.
Well, if you get in a school lunch program at any school nowadays, you got to thank the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers did.
Sure do.
So whatever differences they may have had, if you want to talk about community policing projects where now everybody pulls out their cell phone and goes around and looks at the police, that was started by the Black Panthers. So it's a lot of stuff that the Black Panthers did. In California, this was the Wild Wild West. Everybody had a gun. There was no gun rights things and stuff. Now it's the strictest gun laws, and now you see where we went from 80% down to 12%, which Yasmin just told you, the population of the community. And those gun laws were because they went into the sentences. Not like the people who went into the White House. They went in down in here. They didn't have loaded guns, but they went in there to show that, listen, we're people. You know what I mean? We had to everybody else. And they were torn down for that. Totally demolished each one of their legacies, and just bashed and talked down, as opposed to when you see right now and this stuff in DC, these people go out here and they're patriots, but none of nobody's getting hung in the streets over there. We have thousands of pictures of people being hung, lashes on their back. And, they act like they don't know that, we're victims actually of kidnapping, and, our women have been raped in this community, and not just the physical rape, but just rape to be free of conscience, to think for yourself, to do the things that you want to do without having to go through a system. And so I refuse to call it a system of white supremacy. I know people like to call it that. I think it's a system of degeneracy myself, because it doesn't make a lion supreme to a person, to a man, because he can kill it, because he can kill the man. I just think that it makes him more savage maybe than a man. But I believe I don't believe people on earth could go through what we have been through and still be here, still be strong, still be right here on this network right now talking, and still get justice for our people. And I appreciate you for having me on just to say those words, because the youth are gonna, I know I talked to Brother Amoya before at one of the reparations conferences, and he knows about the situation I'm going through right now, where they're trying to throw faultiness at me and false accusations at me, and you have to fight this stuff. It costs money. They will try to tear you down if you stand up for your people, but I stand regardless for my people. And I believe Yasmin and Fiani and Jabbar, I believe in them. I believe in the whole EPA for reparations so much that they will stand hard for their people regardless of what's thrown at them. And that's why I'm here with them. We got a community of, we aren't the biggest, but hey, we got the heart. And that's and that's really all that matters, because when it comes down to it, we're there for our people. In any way,
we got the bark of the bay. East Palo Alto.
Hold on, and the bite.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like you guys have the spirit, that liberation.
I want to get back to why I say that, though. East Palo Alto is the community that was pushing to name itself Nairobi. I met a brother in prison, and he said, what was the name of that community? I said it was Nairobi. He said,
Little Nairobi.
He said, I remember we did a conference back in y'all community because of the name. He said, I never thought that name would change. Now, this brother was coming out of Seattle, Washington, and he was coming to East Palo Alto. He was actually a Muslim, Fiani, that shared this with me, right? This was back in the 60s and 70s. My point is, we are the epicenter. Nairobi had kindergarten through college. We the only community. My godmother, Sister Keisha, came all the way from New York City because she heard that. So we a very unique place situated right up under Stanford University. So when you hear my colleagues speaking about what they didn't hear, that was done on purpose, that we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't understand who we were based on some interruption in our education process. So that bussing out and that destruction of Nairobi tore up our center. Because when a community develops an educational system from kindergarten to college, that means they're thinking about your future. If it disappears, your high school disappears, and you got to go to Woodside, Atherton, Belmont. We were all bused to everywhere that the presidential candidates go to raise money. And we probably, I really would like to know how many engineers we've produced. We were misdirected in our education instead of being centered around an education that gave us the history of Black Panthers. How the hell the Black Panthers right up under us and we don't even know it?
So, yeah, but like I said, it does sound like you guys got that fighting spirit, even though, you know, it was hidden from you. It all comes full circle, and here we are now fighting for that same liberation. And Jabbar, you said that Nairobi, you thought that they thought the name would never change. Are you saying that the name did change?
The name wasn't ever a legal name. It was our name. That's how we rose.
Oh, it was just self-proclaimed.
That's our term. We run our own program. We have our own language. We are trailblazers and pioneers. We are giants coming out of that little community. Look who's there now. Look who's in my little 2.5 miles community. You telling me we are not giants if we were removed to put them in? Mark Zuckerberg.
Excuse me for interrupting you real quick, Jabbar. Excuse me for interrupting
in my community. Go ahead.
Lady, sorry about that, Jabbar. Young lady, I just wanted to give you a little information. East Palo Alto used to be a part of Palo Alto. And so the east side, though, they never got the resources that the west side of Palo Alto got, none of that stuff. So basically, you know, we just banded together into, parts of East Palo Alto, East Menlo Park, and Menlo Park in general banded together, and they created Nairobi, Little Nairobi. And it was our little thing. And so until East Palo Alto actually separated from Palo Alto, they actually became their own city, where the city of Menlo Park stole some things and land from them and other things that I won't go into now. But Jabbar is on that level. That's what he's trying to show you, that we used to have, it used to be one city, and we actually have been on this politics stuff for a long time, where a lot of the older generation separated from Palo Alto because they wouldn't send anything there but police.
But East Palo Alto was strategically put in place in the peninsula on purpose.
Exactly.
One of my elder neighbors, and we called her Granny, and she is from San Francisco. She's part of the Holland family. She told me her family came to California for better resources, working, and they all connected and got each other jobs and things like that. And they were centered in San Francisco. However, San Francisco was not liking the rise of Blacks in their community. So they put them on a bus, drove them through East Palo Alto, and showed them lots, lands, and houses, and told them you can get these at these reasonable rates, because they were trying to clear them out of San Francisco. So if you notice, most Black descendants from East Palo Alto have strong ties to San Francisco because of that. Because it was a lot of them saying, "Oh, I'm not leaving," but a lot of them was like, "Oh, I can get a house for $5,000. I better jump on this because I can't get that in San Francisco." So East Palo Alto was strategically put in place to try to have all the blacks of the peninsula in one central location.
All right. And I heard somebody say that at one point it was 80% descendant demographic. Now it's down to 12. Is that the understanding?
Yeah.
What does the demographic landscape look like now?
12% about. I think it's
It is-
11.7%.
What
It is
other?
mostly Mexican.
Indian.
Because it's Mexican, and then we are now experiencing a large population of white people.
Are these like immigrant whites, like the Ukrainians? Or
I'm not sure. I
I'm
feel
sure they're
as
on the way.
though they're making their way there as well.
They're white young people that when I met a grad student that I was in the class with, and she was dreaming about coming to this community when she was in 6th grade. So they come from all over the world because we live in a tech hub. So to have a better understanding, we are one of the many red line communities like all the other communities throughout America. So one of the great books to read about that is Rob Ross, The Color of Law. And the first 2 chapters speak about San Francisco and East Palo Alto. So just like every other community that had been gentrified, East Palo Alto was a red line community. So that ride that her grandmother took was also creating white flight, because when the white people, they looked and they saw them, they told them they was coming, they set it up like that. This was endorsed by the New Deal. This is the same hook that got us into the Democratic Party. The New Deal spread segregation more in the West than it was because there was none. So all these federal home loans and stuff that they gave us in East Palo Alto were basically traps that our
predatory, yes.
With.
Right. So if anybody knows off the top of their head, how much are we talking for average housing price now in East Palo Alto?
In East Palo Alto?
$1 million and up.
$1 million and up. Some of them 2, some of them 1.5, 1.8. And
these are the same houses that we're selling for $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Same ones. Yeah.
However, we need to take this into account. They sold for $5,000 back then and maybe worth $900 up to $1 million, 1.5. However, right on the other side of that freeway that Emmanuel was speaking on that separates us, the median is $3 million or $2 million more. Okay,
that's very true.
So
that's very true. But if you own a house, go ahead.
Hold on. Excuse me. So when our parents were forced into a specific community, that's just $2 million that you see on the table that's missing. That's not accounting the years of wealth that was built up in the homes, the loans that they got. When you start seeing these homes now that are not single family with a detached garage, mostly in white communities, see money, see FHA loans going into that community. It's not just an extra house or a mother-in-law unit. Those are FHA loans that went into those communities that didn't go into ours. It was a divestment in our community. So it was Bank of America wouldn't do business in our community. It was a life insurance community that wouldn't give us policies in that community. So when they redline, it's not just saying, oh, this is a blacks only. They also purposely divest. We never had a major grocery store. We always had problems getting a major grocery store, having some kind of proper food in our community.
Now that it's being gentrified, are you seeing a lot more investment?
Oh, they have Starbucks and IKEA now. You know, we've made it. When you have a Starbucks in your community, you have
season
of technocrat safety, right? That's the pinnacle. We want to have mixed living apartments, and if you got an IKEA, so that's the grand attraction in East Palo Alto is the IKEA. Other than driving through to get through. Now we have Amazon that have just took a whole 2 acres, shut off a whole street. But my contention is for my peers and for the community is, how is it that you're sitting on this type of operation and only somebody else can qualify to come in and run my community? That's like me saying I'm the only one that qualify to run your house, Kim. just moving in. I come all the way from Boston to take over what you got going on, and I'm a trillionaire, and you can serve food.
See, and it's an intersection of issues when it comes to East Palo Alto. We can talk for days when it comes to East Palo Alto. It's like one big spider web of issues that even if you try to fix one, there's something else, because it even goes to Stanford using the descendant community of East Palo Alto as projects, so a lot of things have happened legally because of the research that was done on East Palo Alto, the stop and frisk, the broken window theory, the
legal
prison, what is it called? The prison project that Stanford did.
Yeah.
All these different things that they did to create laws throughout the nation started with the research that they done on the descendant
at Stanford. And I
Palo
want to piggyback on that, Fiani, for one moment, because we did get the article from you about Stanford and the gentrification and the eugenics programs. And like I said, these higher universities, they really aren't teaching the world how to be a better place. It's like like I said, my mother was the first Black woman doctor at Stanford, cured cancer. She did not grow up through those schools, through the Yales, and she went to a little Black school in the South, and with 2 Black teachers. And so we can't, these higher education places that want to study and all this, I mean, they've been studying their whole life, and they studied how to throw crack in the community and then bring the police in the community and then take all those people out and throw them in jail. And then from there, that the mother, the grandma, they don't have anybody, males bringing in any money into the household anymore. And now the house is gone. And now the officers, somebody, the politicians, family, children, cousins, wife, sisters, uncles, who's ever brother or cousin, comes in and buys that house a penny on their dollar. And so now it's not more of white flight to me. It's more like a tactical retreat they did, where now they own everything. Now they're the landlords again, and we're basically paying rent on the properties that our families used to own.
And
so that's what I
sounds like. It definitely sounds like continued housing harms out there in East Palo Alto. Because I know the California Task Force, at one point, they were looking at a timeline for housing harms between, I think it was 1930 to 1977 or something like that. But at the last hearings here in Sacramento, they did decide to extend that housing harm to current day times, which, I testified would be more appropriate given the continued harms that we're experiencing.
So real quick question about Stanford. What do you think currently the descendant population is currently enrolled at Stanford?
Probably same as it's always been, probably 20%, something very low. And the athletes that they need to play and win their games, they got them there. Now, but other than that, yeah, it's still low. It would still be low. So, very low. I don't know if you have any. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Our parents and grandparents probably paid enough in taxes and gas and groceries to pay for us to have a tuition. But going back to what my key is about, the misdirection of education in our community, not having those Black teachers that Emmanuel's mother had in that sense. And some of us did have Black teachers. I don't want to say that, but not in the same spirit. We come up in a different time when jobs and opportunity somehow equated liberation. And I think we missed the boat on that. We accepted jobs, appointments, we accepted cocaine, we accepted material stuff. And so now we've just become materialized. And even in our conversation about reparations, because it's all about a check, we haven't produced a damn school yet to educate nobody. Our children buy clothes with less material and pay more for it, but we want a check. And so I think we have to start looking at a bottom-up approach, right? I want to give checks to people that's going to spend them in a community that values them. Spend them in a community that has stores that has fresh food, so that they don't wind up on the murder rate, high murder rate as most food deserts do. And so we need education. We don't just.
I mean, we definitely need some education initiatives, but come on now, we got to cut the check here.
Yeah, well, who
because
you
that's
cutting?
what
No, we
got to cut
reparations
the check.
is.
We got to cut the check.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that, Kim.
Can
but
I add something?
We hear that all day in music. What are we doing with money? We hear everybody getting checks. What are we doing with money? So
no, but listen,
hold on. I'm gonna leave it at this.
The point is though,
hold on. If the system that harmed us, if the system that harmed us is not repaired, or we don't repair the system that harmed us, what is a check gonna do when we get checks every day?
Well, the point is that this is a debt, so the debt needs to be cleared, and compensation is part of reparations. So that's definitely going to be a part of our reparations program out here. But I understand what you're saying about educational institutions, and that's why they're putting in infrastructure like the Freedmen's Bureau agency that will help with that type of stuff as well.
Did they not have a Freedmen's Bureau before?
They did, but that was mismanaged. So we're hopefully now that we have more understanding.
What did the Freedmen's Bureau of last time do for us?
It was mismanaged, so it really didn't have an opportunity to get off the ground.
How are we going to make
That's why we need our own program first and foremost.
Because now we have people who are, like you said, in the movement, have this spirit, and we're diligent, and we're going to be vigilant. And with this reparations, even when the check does get cut, the fight doesn't end because we're going to have to fight to protect the policies and initiatives that come out of this. So. It feels like this is a lifelong fight.
I'm gonna leave it like this.
Hold on.
The first thing that is produced in life, the first thing that it produces brain. The brain calls all the other body parts into function. It calls the eyes. It calls the ears. If we don't produce a brain, I know we can say we got. However, if we're not really looking at these situations, how much more was the spirit of those coming out of enslavement to having something? So I'm saying we have to be meticulous. That's all I'm saying. I don't want you to think I don't want no check, Kim. I don't want you to think that. But I'm one of those silver spoon grandchildren that knows how to squander a damn check. You understand what I'm saying? I'm one of them that squandered a check, and I know what that's like.
That's your right. That's your right, Jabbar. I can't stop you from squandering your check. My goal has to be for the children that don't want to squander it. For those that want to build together.
Been trying to make a statement.
Yeah, let the sister go in, fam.
Can we?
Let her talk? But I wanted everybody to see this because this pressure make diamonds. And that's what it does in our group. We go back and forth. We talk about things, and I think that's what makes our group so special. But getting back to Stanford University, when our brother Amoya asked, what is the descendant population at Stanford? Well, whatever it is not including descendants from East Palo Alto. People from East Palo Alto have been economically castrated, and we have been totally put out of this movement for Silicon Valley, and we've been the education has been made so affordable that we cannot pay for this education to be qualified to work in Silicon Valley. Our sister Camila Moore, the chair of the task force, she came and did a talk with us over Zoom, and she pointed out that it's only 1 or 2% of people that work in the field are Black, let alone who are descendants, and that's an even smaller number. So
and that's exactly why we need to start nation building for ourselves, to have it be 100% Black productions coming out. Everybody gets to cut the line before us, whether it's in Silicon Valley or whether it's in Mississippi. Everybody, whether you're whatever race or whatever people are, or gender or non-gender or whatever, everybody gets to go before us. We've been here so long that we just allow these people to come in and just replace us to the point where we can't have the loans, but somebody else comes in and they can put in a Chinese food restaurant in our community, hire all Chinese people and take that money right back out of the community. We don't have a community if we're not doing that. And so everybody gets to cut the line before us. We have to start nation building on our own first. And it's important that people have money to do that, because that's how you invent things. For instance, Kim, you might have had an idea or a dream you had before you went into this particular thing you're in now. But this is where the money was at, or this is where your life ended up now. Point of the matter is that if you have a community behind you investing in you, saying, okay, on your 18th to 27th birthday, you're going to get $1 million. We're going to make sure that you have a way, structure it for you, and make sure that you can invest in your parents' ideas, or your children can invest in your ideas where the banks would not. That is where we start leading our people out of the problems and to solutions, rather than just talking about the problems all over and over and over again. I'm tired of running around in circles talking about the problems. We know what these people are done to us. We know what they're doing to us. We have to nation build until they give us the debt that's owed on their own. We have to nation build on our own. Yasmin, I'm sorry if I cut you off, dear.
You
I
ain't
apologize.
sorry. You cut me
I'm
off.
very sorry.
But really quick, those are all really good points, but really quick, your advocacy work. So the advocacy work that you're doing out there in East Palo Alto, has it, garnished any support from your local representatives? Is there any local talk of doing anything, pulling anything official like we see popping up in other places like San Francisco?
I think Yasmin is the best to answer this question. I would say yes, but she's so active, so she knows much more about this than me.
Well, I definitely think that we are garnering support. We have a lot of grassroots support. We have a lot of support from other
knowledge that she's more knowledgeable.
I'm sorry. Oh, I heard some feedback. So, okay. So we are communicating with our city council. Our city council is predominantly Mexican. We have one city council person who is a descendant, and we have been in talks with her. She's come through our reparations meetings. And it does look like we'll be producing something soon, but it is important that even our city council members, like, education is the most important thing. It's not about what people, if they think we should have reparations, because we come to understand that once we start talking to these people, their idea of lineage-based reparations and whatever they're thinking in their head are usually two separate things. So we're trying to educate everyone in our community, even people who are not descendants. So that's kind of where we are with just the process of having a reparations committee in our city or commission in our city. We're trying to educate our public officials so that they can advocate for us properly.
And I would like to just piggyback on going back to Stanford again. It is very important for us to understand the harms created from Stanford into our city. They condition the way that we think. They condition the way that we process. And at the end of the day, it's hard for a lot of people, descendants especially, to come and believe in what it is that we're speaking about because of the conditioning. Okay, schizophrenia was considered a Black person's disease based on studies out of Stanford University. So it's things like that that you have to break down and help our people understand that these were systems put in place to create the complacent, I don't even know the word to use, but we're kind of complacent in our way of life. Like, okay, we know that other cities and larger cities have bigger struggles, and at least I got this, so I don't want to push it. I don't want to step on their toes, because East Palo Alto is the only Black community that do not have project-based housing. Like, we don't have project buildings like San Francisco and Oakland and all that, where they can put all the descendants in one space, right? So we all grew up in houses for the most part. And even if our parents or whatever suffered substance misuse issues and things like that, we always had an auntie or someone that can come in and support us in that space. So on the outside looking in, we kind of look like we're doing better than the average descendant community when we had the same struggles. We couldn't get jobs based on our addresses. We couldn't be in certain rooms based on our addresses. It's a lot of things that was done to us. So at the end of the day, I keep going back to intersection because it's a big spider web of issues. Okay. They created harm in our community to see how we respond to trauma. So every part of violence that you see that comes out of East Palo Alto was not from people that resided there. These were studies done by Stanford. So
Exactly.
I
These
always
higher
tell
universities.
people, like, when there's a shooting in the community, regardless if we know who did it or not, it's a grapevine. Oh, such and such did this. Yasmin did that. I heard that Yasmin shot the person, right? But then there's crimes, acts of violence that nobody knows what happened. Everybody just woke up one day and the house on fire and the whole family is gone. Nobody knows what happened. So that draws me back to those studies that they were doing because they were creating harm in the community to see how Black people responded to it so they can approach Blacks throughout the nation with therapy and all of these things.
Okay, so you say that this educational institution is responsible, complicit in all of these harms. Have they done anything? Has Stanford come out to do anything towards reparations? I know of some other educational institutions that are doing their own work towards reparations, like Berkeley, for instance. Is Stanford doing anything towards reparations?
As far as I know, no. As far as I know, no. But you know, Stanford has had a long time to be right there around the corner from East Palo Alto, and nothing has changed other than like Fiani and Yasmin said, it's been gentrified. And I appreciate the lady so much because they always keep you on point. Like she said, there was no projects, but we do have like huge apartment buildings like the Light Trees, the Dog Pound, Over the Ramp, and you know, places like that where you know a lot of Black bodies were in one place.
They're not project based,
but they're
and
huge.
they're not. You have a choice to go live over there. That's not your only option, like larger cities.
For us, it wasn't our only option.
If you wanted to live there, for the most part, we're used to being raised in houses.
What's the homelessness situation out there?
They've been removed, so you can drive through East Palo Alto and you will not see an unhoused person. However, people live with people. That is not their property, so there is a large houseless population in that city.
But they just do a good job of
They do a good job. And if you set up a tent or an encampment, they'll put you in an Uber and you can choose the city of your choice and they'll pay for it to get you up out of there.
Wow. And I just also wanted to add that it's not just Stanford. It is the surrounding communities, Menlo Park, Redwood City, Palo Alto, Santa Clara, Mountain View. Some of these cities have annexed land from East Palo Alto. East Palo Alto is only 2.5 square miles. So a lot of our land was annexed by the city of Menlo Park. A lot of land was annexed by Palo Alto. I want to give a shout out to our local historian, Miss Juanita Croft, who talks about the environmental harms done to East Palo Alto, how our creek was moved from East Palo Alto, how our redlining has to do with environmental barriers that they've provided for us, the 101 freeway, the Dumbarton Bridge, the even Willow Road. These are natural markers that indicate how they decided to implement the redlining. Taking away a lot of these assets from our city before we were even incorporated. Thank God we were incorporated. We incorporated in 1983. It was descendant Americans who incorporated the city of East Palo Alto because we were getting just decimated by the county, by San Mateo County. So the harms that have happened to the descendant American community, they run deep. So it's definitely going to take an open mind to solve these problems. Yes, we want Stanford to come to a conclusion about these problems, but we will have to educate them and inform them and lead the way, because I'm sure, like most people in scholarship, they are more on a race-based solution for these problems. Talking about lineage-based solutions is a new paradigm for most people. And even in our group, it has taken us a while for people to start getting the language and understanding who a descendant is and who is not a descendant. And though we come from a background of Pan-Africanism in East Palo Alto, I saw somebody in the chat ask if we were for lineage-based reparations. And we don't Pan-Africanism our reparations in East Palo Alto. We want to make sure that the descendant community is being served. And even when East Palo Alto resonated with that Pan-Africanism idea, these people are mostly descendants. These people come from the South. Their families come from the South. So it's very important for us to amplify that history. We are dealing with a project that deals directly with Black erasure on the peninsula, and that is the Onetta Harris name continuance. Onetta Harris was a instrumental descendant American.
Is that the slide there?
Yeah, that is it. Onetta Harris advocated for Black men in our community, for Black boys in our community. She advocated for and we're talking about specifically Menlo Park, but it goes, if you walk across the street, you're in Menlo Park. If you walk back across the street, you in East Palo Alto. So these communities are inherently connected. When East I would describe East Menlo Park, or the gentrifiers refer to it as a Bellhaven, but I will describe it as a place where they were abandoned by the Menlo Park City Council for many years. So the programs that served East Palo Alto in turn served East Menlo Park, because we're all basically intertwined. Now, when Onetta Harris died in the 80s, they opted a unanimous decision with the city of Menlo Park to name the community center the Onetta Harris Community Center. And now they have a deal with Facebook for a $100 million campus, because if some of you don't know, Facebook is in the vicinity of Menlo Park and East Palo Alto. It is housed at the old Hewlett-Packard site. And Facebook has been the source of a lot of the gentrification in our community, in the rising cost of housing, and even in the cost to do business in East Palo Alto has skyrocketed, so that descendants can't really, we don't have descendant community businesses in East Palo Alto.
So with this renaming of the center, what are they proposing to rename it?
We don't know. They have not said what they're proposing to rename it. They are giving us the illusion of inclusion by having us go to the publicinput.com/name and tell how we want to preserve the name. But from what I see from the city council and the Parks and Recreation is that they've already made an agreement with Facebook to change the name. And that's what they're proceeding to do. So we're working with the Harris family. Ken Harris is a businessman in our community, one of the few descendant businesses in our community. He sells real estate, and we are just teaming up with them and supporting them in their name continuance for Sister Onetta Harris.
Okay, so is there a call to action around this for anybody listening in the area that wants to help preserve?
Yes,
this
we
history?
would like for you to attend the next city council meeting on April 25th at 6 p.m. Tell them how the legacy of Onetta Harris is so valuable to our community, and tell them how you do not want our descendant history and local history erased in Menlo Park and in East Palo Alto. And then there's 4 ways to do that. Well, actually 3, because they closed the the publicinput.com, that's closed, but you can still leave a comment at the Belhaven Library in Menlo Park. You can also call. We have a few numbers up here for you to call. And like I said, go to the city council meeting and make a public comment and let them know that we do not want our descendant history erased.
All right.
Wow. Well, I know we got about maybe about 10, 15 minutes ish. When we run your own platform, you can keep going, and we love to continue this conversation at another time. But
very important conversation.
Before we leave, maybe if each one of you can give, maybe 1 or 2 minutes of what your definition of reparations is, what you would like to see repair in East Palo Alto, and then we'll go ahead and once again, I know there's some upcoming events you wanted to speak about, and then we'll wrap up from there. But I guess we'll start off with you, Sister Yasmin, if you want to go in.
Well, I want to see tangible evidence of the descendant community in East Palo Alto. There is an attempt to erase our culture, not just by the government powers that be in East Palo Alto, but with so much multiculturalism, everyone wants to be centered and everyone wants their story centered. But we want our center too. So I want the descendant American population to have land in East Palo Alto. I want us to have schools in East Palo Alto that are designated for us and specific for us, as well as opportunities for us to have businesses and opportunities to just innovate and create. Since we live in a place like Silicon Valley, I want us to have a role in the way business is done out here, as well as our artistic expression be able to show through our music, our dance, our history in East Palo Alto. So I just want those things amplified, and that is what reparations will be to me, as well as them cutting that check. Fiani, would you like to go?
I think you pretty much said everything I wanted to say. However, I just would like everything Yasmin said, on top of just righting the historical wrongs that was done in our community. I think we need disparities in healthcare. I think we need to regain access to generational wealth by eliminating and overseeing the predatory lending things that happened and occurred in our community, to where people did lose their homes and stuff through eminent domain, all those different things. I think descendants need to have more of a voice and a presence in those spaces to eliminate things like that from happening. I would even like to see a grocery store, a real grocery store in the city of East Palo Alto. So I think that's all I have as far as piggybacking off Yasmin, what she had said. Emmanuel can go next, or Jabbar.
Oh, was it Jabbar or me? It doesn't matter. I mean, for my final words, I have to say that I'd like to see the check cut. I like to say to my people, we got to join together or die. But according to these people, by blacks will be extinct by the year 2050, or either all incarcerated. And we need to start building, nation building, our own black, while we wait for them and the debt that's owed to us. I want to see them cut the check. I want our youngsters to really have a chance out here to be able to invent, to be able to create without having to worry about how they're going to feed themselves for their next meal. And I want us to see, if we're going to put a $20 trillion price tag on something and it's a debt, then I want to see us get serious and start charging interest. Nobody just holds the $20 trillion debt. That we should be collecting interest on that every month and figure out. And if they don't, and sell the debt for pennies on the dollar to somebody else, if we have to, we need to get serious about, listen, you owe us. Now we are the creditor. And that's the same thing they would do. They sell their debt to somebody else, and they'll have somebody else calling their phone talking about, hey, we need our money. So that's what I would like to see. And ultimately, I want to create generational wealth for our people And that brings me back to the theory of black cohesion, and $5 will do that on its own until these people cut the check. Thank you very much
Did
for
you
putting
want
that
to
up
talk
here.
about your theory? I put the flyer up there if you wanted to just
Yes,
touch
ma'am.
on
I
that
mean,
briefly.
yes, ma'am. I mean, it's really simple. I think it separates the wheat from the chaff. I mean, I'd like to ask you, if you and Amoye can dedicate yourself to learning about the theory, passing on that knowledge to other people, and because ultimately $5 can be found in your car, in your sofa, and if we do this, now we've got 200 new black millionaires per month. We've got 2,400 new black millionaires per year between the ages of 18 and 27 who can invest in their moms or their friends' ideas or combine their money to do whatever they want to do. But more importantly, in the time the task force has been working, it's been 7,800 new black millionaires we could have created. And I mean, that's really how I got involved with this with Yasmin. I asked her, what's kind of our time frame? And she was saying, maybe to get done in the next 10 years. And that's 24,000 new black millionaires in a community that we have missed out on if we wait for them to do it in 10 years. So I just say that they owe us a check. We need our check. Collect interest on that debt, first of all, because that makes people pay debts back faster when there's interest accruing. And more importantly, it's $5 from ourselves. Can you give 5? Can you give 5? And for me, I know everybody's not going to do it, but I might have to do the work of 10 men. Maybe I have to put 500 in a month. It doesn't matter as long as we start creating future black millionaires to have growth in our community, to expand that out towards and then trickle out towards their parents. And the number is on there. If you want to, you can read it out, or I'll read it out. But ultimately, the theory of cohesion for me is really the tree. It's the seed, and now we need $100 a month.
All right, you're in the matrix a little bit on the last there, but the theory of black cohesion, if anybody is interested in learning more on this concept, you can take a screenshot of the flyer that's up right now. There's some contact information. It looks like a website where people can go for more information.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that sounds good.
the3fifthrepublic.com. It's at the bottom. And I appreciate you guys so much for having me on the show, having all this on the show. And thank you so much for having me. It was a real honor.
Oh, thank you for joining us. All right, Jabbar.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. It's been an honor. For me, again, reparations comes from the inside out. So I would love to see some of my peers that I grew up with, most specifically, coming together and also producing our own scholarship to determine what we're owed. Somebody hit my car, I'm taking it to the shop to see what it's owed. I'm not going to let them peel me off a check unless I know it's way more than what the car and my personal damage may be worth. So I think it's important for us to begin our own scholarship in what we are owed. I don't want nobody counting my money for me. I'm not having it. I never had it. And I know I'm owed. So knowing that I'm owed, reparations look for me to determine how much that is and to ensure that me and my children are on the way to collecting that. So that's what it looks like. But I also want to see systematic change. I see a lot of millionaires on YouTube.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think that's the roundup.
Before we go, can we show the flyer of Fianna's Mother's Day bailout? Because the Mother's Day bailout, it is so important that we support Fianna and the work that she is doing. We are trying to use the theory of black cohesion to donate money to Fianna's Mother's Day bailout brunch. So it's two things. It's the bailout, and then we're having the brunch on May 14th, Mother's Day, Fianna.
May 14th, it's on the flyer.
Yes, so we want you to donate, and we want you to show up to our Mother's Day brunch on Mother's Day, so we can uplift these women and we can uplift the work of Fiani and the Arminta Ross Foundation.
Okay, but we got to properly explain the Mother's Day bailout. It's not just about raising money for that. It's more or less we're supporting women who are incarcerated and got caught up in the justice system for whatever reason. It's a low-level offense, most likely. However, we're bringing them home. We're bailing them out, returning them back to the community, and wrapping them in services of their prospective communities. And we're sharing everything that we've done with them on the day of the brunch. So we'll have a brunch there, and at that brunch, we'll have a panelist of other formerly incarcerated women to talk about their experience and their success in the community. So we raise money throughout the year for these events. However, one people, one person, one path is wanting to prove that theory, the theory of Black cohesion really works. So he's doing that by also raising money for that event. We don't want to confuse it. We're also raising money for that event and also making this an evidence-based practice to show that this theory can work by donating the $5 and things like that. So we don't want to do that.
And we aren't keeping a single dime. We're not keeping a single dime.
No, we're not. We're not keeping a dime, but he wants to prove that this theory works, and we're allowing that. However, the Arminta Ross Foundation has funders previous to this year. This year, we didn't have any funders, so we're raising money off the bat from the ground up, grassroots all the way up. So there's some people that are returning donations and coming back to donate. However, we still want to show that the theory of Black cohesion can work, and we're showing it by raising money for TARF in their bailout events.
How many women were you able to bail out previously?
So we're not gonna apply to bail until May 1st. We're still raising money.
And in previous events, how many were you able to bail?
About the most 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the bail varies from $10,000 to $30,000, and we pay 10% of that, and they're out on bail, and then they're back into the community and going back and forth to courts and things like that. So that's where we connect them with community-based organizations that can support them in that time.
Wow, I mean, that sounds like a fantastic program and way to give back. So
yes. So if you're interested in donating, you can see the Scan Me here. However, you can also text the letters TARF to the number 53555, and you can make any donation of yourself that you choose. Again, it is the letters TARF to 53555. You text that, and it'll send you to the exact link.
And I don't know if you mentioned, Fiani, you're going to be getting their hair done and nails done, just kind of pampering them a little bit, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Type treatment. We're gonna have we're gonna have a person that does she does oh God, I just got it done yesterday. Acupuncture for trauma informed people. Everything is trauma related. So there's gonna be just some like healing things going on.
Yeah, the sisters need that. So
yeah.
God bless you for that.
All right, much success with
and keep the donations coming, because we got Father's Day bailout to do, and we got Black August. So keep them coming, not just $5, but increments of $5. So whatever increment is $5 is, go crazy.
Exactly. You might have to do the work of 5 people. You might have to do the work of 10 people. That's how we put it. So, we want to see people step up and bless these mothers, and we want to see the program work out in Fiani's favor, of course, because we love her. And so, and we love it. We love the community, and we love these sisters that are coming home, and we want to introduce them back into the community the right way.
Every bit helps. Every bit helps. So go ahead, take your screenshots there. And then we have a couple more flyers I'll put up if anybody wants to briefly touch on that.
This is our reparations listening session for seniors. It's going to be Tuesday, May 2nd at the EPA Senior Center from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Shout out to Mama Tiambe. Shout out to Miss Donna Rutherford, Miss Gail Wilkerson, and their work in organizing this. So we're just here to support them. And then our next flyer is our East Palo Alto Part 2 listening session, hosted by our great friends over at the American Redress Coalition of California, ARC Bay
Shout
Area.
out to Art.
Shout out to ARC. Shout out to Darlene. We love Darlene. She's just been the wind beneath our wings, supporting us, encouraging us. Shout out to CJ and Chris. Before I even had a group, I was like, Chris, I want you to speak to my group, but I don't have a group. And he was, when I finally got a group, he was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing.
And shout out to Camilla Moore, man. I know she's been going through a lot with this task force.
Yes, shout out to our sister Camilla Moore. We love you so much, and the work that you are doing is irreplaceable. So thank you, and I'll be reaching out to. We want to have a special guest or special message at our reparation session. So hopefully we can get one of the task force members to do that for us. That'd be great.
Come down.
Yes, everyone is welcome. You're welcome. Please come. Our reparations listening session is on the 29th. So that's in a couple weeks. So please come. Everyone is welcome. It's open to the public. Thank you.
And you say that's in association with ARCC?
Yes.
I'm repping the ARCC today.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we hope to see both of you down there, Kim and Amoye. We hope both of y'all come down and join us for that day, and we'll show you. We get a up close looking personal at the up close look at the city.
Okay, all right. We'll put that on the tickler.
Yeah, come take a tour of Nairobi.
Nairobi.
There you go.
All right.
All right, so I think, is that it for, I think we have one or two more, or are those all the...
That's the housekeeping. I will throw up the theory of Black cohesion one more time for anybody who wants to take a screenshot of that, get more information. Sounds like they're putting that fundraising fund.
Feel free to call
really
anytime. And we definitely want you guys to, a lot of people say, what kids are going to get in trouble if they get all this money in their pocket, but we see kids building and growing and inventing new things. I mean, I've seen kids that just don't have the money, but they're inventing all kinds of new things, and they want to write new things, start restaurants, but they just don't have it. And as a community, we have to come together and build it.
Facts.
We have to put it around.
Facts on facts.
All right, I'm gonna put up this one picture real quick.
I even made it in the picture.
That's us at the hearing in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And then that is Brother Emmanuel leading our conversation over in East Palo Alto. And as you mentioned, ARC led our listening session last month, and now they're coming back to do part 2 with us.
And was this the listening session that you guys had?
Yes, this was in March 11th. We had a pretty good turnout. We're just hoping we can.
I see my mama and daddy in that picture.
Yeah, they in there looking good too. Yeah, what a blessing. Thank you.
Well, that's wonderful, family.
Thank you.
First of all, thank y'all for coming on. We appreciate your time and energy in this matter, fighting for reparations for descendants. You definitely hear U.S. chattel slavery. And not only, for people on the panel, I don't know if you had a chance to actually send in your ideas or proposals to the California Reparations Task Force, but people in the chat, if you haven't done that yet, please do it as soon as possible. I don't know if they're still taking, I'm still sure they're still taking, proposals, but I know Brother Jabbar, you talked about the education system. Actually, here on our platform, we actually went through what a Freedmen's Bureau could look like here in California and in general. We actually went over some of the ideas of building, HBCUs here in California, freedmen related educational systems, which, you know, we talked about Stanford, right? And the lack of descendants who are represented there. Well, I feel like if they have one in Palo Alto, then they definitely need one in East Palo Alto, right? Specifically for lineage-based education. So definitely check that out. And before we wrap, let's see. I know we talked about some figures here. We actually had a wonderful conversation. I don't think that the economists are, I think they're done with the California Reparations Task Force, but we did have a chance to speak with Professor Thomas Kramer, and he talked about the figures of 6.6 quadrillion and counting from the harms that have happened.
Because that includes that interest that you were talking about.
Now that sounds about right. Yes, man, that sounds about right.
Sounds right
we can
to
work
me.
with that.
Me and Darlene were just talking about how great Dr. Kramer is, and I can't wait for that conversation. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, it's we actually posted right now, family. So if you have a chance, just go on our channel, check that one out. He's definitely been an ally, you know, in Germany.
I'll definitely check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, facts, fam. So on that note, anyone is I guess wrapped up. Definitely everybody check out what's going on East Palo. As a matter of fact, do y'all have like a Facebook or a Twitter account or something like that?
How do people find y'all?
Yes, we do have a Facebook, and it is called Reparations for EPA. And I really messed up when I named it that. I really should have named it EPA for Reparations, but I can't go back and change the name. So that's kind of what we got to deal with on Facebook. And then
yes, you
Instagram.
can.
And I'm sorry.
I say yes, you can. You should be able to change your Facebook.
I'm gonna try, but I say that EPA has to be for reparations because reparations is not for EPA. But we also are on IG at EPA for Reparations, and I'm gonna go ahead and bite that bullet and do that Twitter one. I don't know. We also want to promote the tarfoundation.org. And so hopefully we can butter Miss Fiani up and let her, hopefully we could put some stuff up on EPA or for the TAR Foundation so that you guys have ways to access us until we're able to get our own .org. So thank you.
All right, wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, fam, for coming. On that note, we're going to, if anybody hasn't heard of the OMB, what's happening right there, I believe it's Office of Management and Business or something like that. The federal, right now they're taking proposals for how and who is going to be named what. I believe the deadline is April 17th. There's some ethnicity and racial things that are happening.
I thought it was
right
the
now.
27th.
27th, my bad. Thank you. April 27th is the deadline. So if everybody is not familiar with that, I believe it's, what is it, Kim? SPD revision. I think it's something like that. .org or something like that. Whatever. Just look up SPD revision online, and then you should be able to check it out. So if you haven't put in your proposals or your ideas of how you want to be named, anybody else should be named, this is the time, because they might not do this. I think the last time was like 26, 27 years or something like that. So it's very crucial that you put in your ideas and concepts of how you want to be called, of however you want to be named. So Kim, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to take
just real quick. We don't have a location yet, but the next task force meeting will be in somewhere in the East Bay. And that's going to be on May the 6th. So actually it's only a 1-day hearing this time around. Usually it's 2 days. So mark your calendars for May the 6th, which is a Saturday, I believe. Yeah. And keep your eyes open for when they release the information on the exact location.
Facts, family. Facts.
ETM Media, I just want to say thank you so much for highlighting the work of East Palo Alto for reparations. We really appreciate your channel. It has educated me so much in this last year, and it's a pleasure to watch your channel grow. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, salute to everyone. Salute to everyone. So on that
Thank
note,
you for
y'all,
having us.
thank you. Peace. All right, y'all, peace and reparations. The U.S. Office
Peace
of
and reparations.
Management and Budget Interagency Technical Working Group, OMB, on race and ethnicity standards is requesting public comments on the initial proposals on how to improve the quality and usefulness of SPD 15, a federal statistical policy directive.
The extended deadline to submit your comment is now Thursday, April 27th. For more information and to submit your comment, go to spd15revision.gov. That's spd15revision.gov.
This is a rare opportunity and may not come again until the next 27 years.